guys, it's Paula and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be kind of a long one, so I'm not going to, I don't want to make my intro super long, because I kind of want to just go ahead and jump in. But I did want to say thank you to everybody who has been watching and sharing the past videos. I really appreciate that. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right on into the video. Okay, so I guess we'll start kind of at the beginning. When I was born, my parents were young. They were married, but they were super young. Yeah, but they were wonderful parents, starting out, and I was very, 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 very blessed to have them. They always made sure that I grew up in church and that I was had the best of everything, and holidays were always a super huge deal. When I was smaller. But they were always more equipped to be friends. I think I don't really think they were meant to be married. They loved each other, but I think they loved each other more as friends. And that kind of started to show as I got older. I want to say when I was about two years old. My grandparents, who I call Nana and Papa, I'm from the South, so my accent is going to come out in this video, talking about them, because most people don't call their grandparents that unless you're from the South. But I think they kind of started noticing some iffy behaviors from both my mom and my dad, that they were concerned about, and concerned about my safety and my well-being. Nothing crazy, no kind of abuse or anything like that. Just some questionable behavior from both of them. And it was never one or the other. It was always, they both had their faults and their own things. But so fast forward to when I was 3. My grandmother and my grandfather on my mother's side, so Nana and Papa, they had pretty much had enough by that point of seeing what was going on. So I remember my Nana specifically saying a few times, either you two get your act together or I'm taking her. And she's coming to stay with me and Charles, which is my papa's name. So they would get it together for a little bit, and then it would kind of go back to the same thing. Fast forward to they ended up separating, and I ended up going to live with my mom. I still saw my dad, but I lived primarily with my mom. I don't remember too many instances where the things were going downhill, but they were. Just people coming in and out that were not the best. And of course, my nana, my papa, found out about it. And there's some um, stories in there that I'll tell in another video. But there was some stuff that wasn't good, and Nana Peppa found out about it. So they decided enough is enough. Well, we're gonna step in. So they took me when I was 3. And I've always had a really good relationship with both sets of my grandparents, on my mom and on my dad's side. Well, with my dad's mom, I've always had a really good relationship. So mom's parents, they took me, and I feel like, I want to say I was 3 or 4 when mom and dad kind of wanted to try again, but my Nana Papa, they knew that things were still not right, things were still iffy, and they just basically was like, "Nope, you're not playing. We're not playing this game. Not where she's concerned. It's not happening." So they kept me, obviously, and I do want to say that my grandparents are phenomenal, because they did not have to do any of this. They did not have to take me. They did not have to raise me, but they chose to. And I am the person I am today because they made that decision, and I will be forever grateful for that. So, but anyway, so mom and dad, tried to step back in, tried to take me a few times, and they were having, my Nana and Papa were having none of it. It wasn't happening. Growing up, I had the absolute most amazing childhood, and they made sure of it. I always had the best of everything. I always, I grew up in church, but I always knew the rules, and I always knew, don't cross elders. Just don't do it. No. And I never did, because I knew from an early age, you just don't, you do what you're told. And I think that is in large part because I did, grow up with grandparents, and they are from an older generation, and so they don't take no crap. That's just the way it is. They don't take no crap. And I knew that from a very, very, very young age. So I didn't give them crap, because I knew they weren't going to take it. So childhood, phenomenal. Had the best childhood, and they made sure of it. We went on vacations, and just, they did everything that, parents should do with their children. And I'm not talking, expensive, like, vacations, or, giving your child the best. I'm talking, the best thing that they could have given me is stability, and they did that, for sure. I was never tossed around or thrown here and there. I've always had a very, 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 very stable life, and it's because of them. But I want to say in upper elementary school that I started noticing a change in both my parents. I think it was upper elementary school, I started noticing okay, something's not right. They're doing things that they shouldn't be. And like I said, it was both of them. It wasn't just one or the other. It was both. And I remember thinking, and I don't know why I thought this, but I always kind of thought when I was younger that somehow it was my fault that they were doing what they were doing. And it was because of, me having a disability, maybe. Well, maybe, it's my fault that they're doing what they're doing. Not the case. Not at all. And if your parents are having issues, don't ever blame yourself. Don't take that blame on to yourself, because it's not true. So, but yeah, I remember thinking, several times, oh, did I do that? But no. I grew out of that. I want to say around middle school. I kind of realized that no, it's not. That's on them. That's not on me. That type of thing. So 7th grade was absolute pure HEWL for me. Because that was the year that I lost my dad. I remember the day that it happened. I was in the shower, and the phone rings, and my grandmother picks up the phone, and I heard her say, "Oh God, no." And I thought, uh-oh, something's not right. Something happened, and something bad. My stomach drops. I get out of the shower and I go into the living room, and she's sitting on the couch, and she says absolutely nothing. She just looks at me, and she has tears in her eyes, and I was thinking, oh crap. And I said, what? And she goes, it's your dad. He's gone. And I said, what do you mean he's gone? I said, where did he go? Because I honestly thought, that he had either gone out on a binge, or, he was out, doing something, whatever. Death never, ever crossed my mind. Ever. And she says, he's dead. Y'all, I'm pretty sure my heart stopped for several minutes. I don't remember much, because it was almost like an out-of-body experience, like I was watching from the outside while all this was happening. I remember I turned around, went back into my bathroom, shut my door, and locked it, and locked myself into my bathroom. And I remember my Nana beating on the door, trying her best to get in, because she didn't know, what I was gonna do, because I, had just found out that my dad had OD'd and died. Not a good thing for a kid to ever have to hear. So I remember her beating on the door, and I just sat there. I sat there for probably, I don't know, an hour with her just beating on this door, begging me to let her in, and I wouldn't let her in. So, and the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, there's no way. What now? I honestly, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to feel. I was immediately numb for a long time. I've never talked about this on camera, by the way. So, I got up and I opened the door, and she was standing at the door, and she was crying. She said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm not." And I lost it. Y'all, if it hadn't been for my grandparents and a few other family members, there's no way I would have made it through that. And I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I was okay, because I wasn't for a very long time. So losing him was bad, especially because I was so young. And I was his and my mom's only child. They had other children. I'll get more into that in a separate video, and I might actually get you all, or get my little sister on camera eventually. But I was their only child together. And I remember thinking at one point, what's this gonna do to my mom? Because my mom was already on a bad path herself, and she loved my dad. Even after they divorced, they still told each other they loved each other every time they seen each other, and if one needed the other, they were right there for each other at all times. They had the one of the coolest relationships I think I've ever seen, because they were such good friends, and they stayed that way even after they divorced. But I remember thinking, what is this going to do to my mom? And at the time, my mom was on she was on a good she was having a good streak at the time, and she was home. She was staying with us, but I remember thinking, this is going to destroy her. And in a way, I think that it did, and I think that I think she couldn't handle the pressure of and the pain of losing somebody that she truly, honestly loved more than anything in this world. So again, she went back out on another binge. It lasted for a very long time. She was in and out of jail after that. But, through the whole thing, I had my grandparents they were always that stability for me, which I'm extremely grateful for, because like I said, if it hadn't been for them, I would not have made it through that. But after I, kind of got over the shock and kind of dug my way out of the hole that I, fell into after he passed, I started, being more and more and more and more determined to never, ever, ever put my grandparents or any of my family for that matter through that. Ever. I was never going to put them through that. So in a way, I think that kind of made me stronger as a person, and made me never, ever, ever, ever want to touch that stuff. But after he passed, and I remember specifically when I started high school, I remember thinking several times that I wish more than anything that he could have been there, to see who I was growing up to be, and wondering if he'd be proud, and what he would think. So, but after he died, my grandparents they tried to shield me even more than they did when I was younger, because they did try to shield me from all of it, but there's only so much they could do. After he passed, they kind of tried to shield me even more, to keep me from getting hurt. I remember thinking, several times though, what it would be like if they had never, if my parents had never got on that stuff, and what my life would have been like if they had raised me. And when I say that, I don't, like I said, I have an amazing life, and I always have, and that is all thanks to my Nana and Papa. They've done a wonderful job of raising me, and making sure that I had a stable home, and had anything that I could have ever wanted or ever needed. But you wonder what life would be like if your parents had raised you, when you're in my shoes. But so I want to say around my sophomore or junior year, I kind of started to pull myself up and dust myself off, and just kind of had to learn to accept that he was gone, and that there was nothing I could do, and that my mom's problems weren't my fault, because I did take that on several times, wondering if it was my fault that they were doing what they were doing, and if it was because of me being disabled, or not good enough, or whatever. So it took about mid-high school for me to learn, to pick myself up, dust myself off, and that it wasn't my fault, and that there was nothing I could do. I was a child, but I feel like I had to grow up pretty fast. Not that I had to, but I feel like losing him made me grow up, even faster than what I had, already had. Then fast forward to after I'm an adult. Me and my Nana are absolutely the best of friends. My Papa And y'all, he used to say when I was younger, I'm going to go back a little bit back. When I was younger, he used to say that he would be my legs until the day that he passed. And he was. So, you know, he was my absolute rock. And he, you know, he's passed now. He's been gone almost 4 years. But he was my, you know, he was my rock. He was everybody's rock. But then, you know, me and my Nana are absolutely the best of friends. Once I, you know, became an adult, she kind of, she let go and, you know, kind of let me make my own decisions and make my own rules and, you know, let me be an adult. And she's, you know, she's there for when I need advice, but she's not, you know, she doesn't try to dictate, you know, friend groups or decisions or anything like that. She's there for advice when I need it and if I need it. Because I do still live at home with her. And she is remarried now. So I have a step-grandpa who is crazy and funny, and I'm actually going to try to get both of them to be on camera at some point. But, so fast forward to when I was, I guess I was what, 22? No. 23. Yeah, I was almost 24. It was January of last year. I unfortunately lost my mom. I'm not gonna go into that one because there's so much uncertainty with that one that I don't really know, because she was in rehab and then she came home, or she left, and then it was like 2 months later she was gone. I'm not gonna go into that whole story because it's just that story is a mess. That's a whole video in itself, and I will make that story very, very soon, because the whole situation surrounding her death was a mess. But again, huge blow. But I feel like as an adult, I recovered. I don't know if that's the right word, but I accepted it a lot faster than I did my dad's, because I had to. I felt like, you know, my Nana had she'd lost her husband, just a few years before. So I felt like I had to be here. She had been here for me, her and my papa, my whole life. So I kind of felt like it was my turn to be here for her and to help her through that whole time. But so I felt like I recovered from that one a lot faster than I did my dad's, because I felt like I had to, because I had to be here for my Nana. But again, losing her, I remember thinking, I have lost both of my parents to this. I don't ever want anything to do with it. And I know a lot of people say you either get to the point where you fall into their footsteps or you run away from them. I ran the other way. Thank God. Because I never wanted my grandma or my Nana, she's going to kill me for calling her grandma in this video. I never wanted her to have to experience what it would be like if something ever happened to me, God forbid. But yeah, that's kind of a whole spiel about my life. Like I said, I'm actually going to do a whole video on the events surrounding my mother's death, because that's a whole story in itself. My dad's, the incidents surrounding his were a lot more, there was a lot more facts around his than there was my mom's, and I was a lot younger too, so that one, you know, I don't know a whole lot, because I was so young. They didn't, you know, obviously they didn't tell me everything. That, you know, with that one, they kept me shielded from a lot of it. But you know, when I lost my mom, I was obviously an adult. This was, you know, last year. So I was. There's a lot more that I know surrounding her death than my dad's. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, give it a thumbs up, and leave comments on what videos you guys want to see. Leave any questions that you guys have, because like I said, I'm pretty much an open book, and I don't care to answer any questions whatsoever. Because, you know, I'm not ashamed of anything. I'm not, you know, holding anything back. I'm not hiding anything. So, you all leave any questions that you guys have, and I'll go ahead and answer those in the next couple of videos. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe up there. Hit that red subscribe button. Hit that bell so you know every time I post a video. And I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. Mwah.